Hello, everybody. Good evening. This is Sonia, and thank you for um, watching these videos. If you've seen the first one, stand watch all the way up until this point. I thank you. I hope that you um, were able to take that message and apply it to your life, and I hope that it helped you get closer to God. Um, I hope that it helped you start a journey towards God. Um, in my last video, I had to cut it short because I was going outside the time frame. I apologize for that. But I wanted to share the dream that I had back in 2004 with you. And because I couldn't fit that in the last video, I tried to fit my dream and the woman's dream in it, and the interpretation in it. So it took up a lot of time to do that. And toward the end, I mean, I was able to fit the content in there, but I wanted to go over scripture and to talk about it more in depth, and that's when I was cutting into my time frame. So like I said, I'm very sorry if you was looking towards the end and didn't get to see that part, but I will do my best to still include that in this one. Okay, so I'm going to go into this dream that I had back in 2004. So it's a lot of pages, so I'm just going to sum it up. So this dream that I had back in 2004, I was about 16 or 17 years old. So, and this is dated 8/19/2004. So this is just after graduation, and this is just before my birthday. So I must be around 16 or 17 years old. Everybody that was in this dream were people from my high school. So I'm just gonna leave it like that, because if I go into this 3 pages, it's gonna describe everybody. So we can skip that part. But to describe the beginning, we were taking down notes in class about what this trip was about. The trip was going to fall on a day, the 23rd. I don't know what that means. And we were writing down notes on what this trip, like when this trip was going to be, and what to bring with us, and what time to show up for the, to get on the buses. The dream didn't go into depth about, what was really on that board, and why were we so intent on copying it, like our lives depended on it, like because there was like a sense of urgency in us, like we were looking forward to the 23rd with so much gusto, like we were like, yeah, the 23rd, are you going? Make sure you go. Like it seemed so important. So when the 23rd came and we all got on these buses, one of my friends almost missed out, and the last bus to leave actually stopped for him and picked him up. So that was cool, but what's interesting is somehow we went from an urban city to this mountain. This mountain, I don't know how long or how far this trip was, but there was this really big mountain that these buses drove us to, and it only took us there part of the way. We had to walk up the mountain by foot. So when we got off the bus, and we went through these gates, we walked up to the bottom of the mountain. We were met by these very tall people. They were dressed simple. They had beautiful faces. Their eyes was very kind. Their smiles were very genuine. They were very charismatic people, and they were very tall. I'm talking about taller than Shaquille O'Neal, you know, and for me that's tall, but they were pretty tall. And there was like this big crate in front of them, and we had to put our all of our belongings in that crate. But the way they described it was, you have to, like, for example, if I was there and I was wearing this would have gone into the crate. These earrings would have gone into the crate. If I had like my purse, that would have gone into the crate. So the way they described it, the way these tall people described it was, whatever you're attached to materialistically, put it in the crate. Because for some reason this mountain was perceived as very sacred, holy, and you couldn't take nothing that you were possessive of, anything that was part of the world. You couldn't take that with you. So we had to put it in the crate. So everybody's putting their book bags in there. The guys were taking off their nice gold watches and putting it in there. The girls is putting in their purses, their money. I did this funny thing where I was like, okay, I might still need my ID and my Metro card. And one of the angels, and it was interesting, she was an older angel. She was elderly and she was magnificent. She was beautiful. And she was strong in her stride. Like, she didn't show any like regress that you would see in old people, you know, like she was elderly, but she was just, I can't describe it. She was just magnificent. And she came to me and she said, you don't need that where you're going. And I was like, okay. And she was like, you're already known. He knows who you are. You don't need that either. So I put my ID card back and I put my Metro card back. So for some reason, I was going to a place where I didn't need to rely on human transportation. I didn't need to rely on my own identification. I was already known. Okay? That's pretty cool. Okay? I don't know what's going on. I'm here at this big old mountain. I'm letting go of everything I'm attached to. And I'm going to see somebody, or, you know, go somewhere where I'm already known. I'm known. I don't have to announce myself. Incredible, right? And this goes for everybody that was with me. We were all known. So it didn't stop there. We were put into groups. So it was me, a friend, and our teacher in one group, and everybody else was put in their own groups, about groups of 3 or 4 people. And we were told to only follow the stairs that was cut into the rock and follow the bridges. They told us, don't go anywhere else, just follow the path. So we followed the path and we were ascending up the mountain, going up the stairs. And there was this part of the stairs where my foot fell through a gap. And I picked myself up and we continued walking. We went over the bridges and then we found another set of stairs that was, that was going down. And so when we went down these steps, it went into like this cavernous section of the mountain. It was like it was opened. And in this cavernous open section of the mountain, it was like you could see trickles of water coming down. Like there was already like this big, beautiful waterfall cascading on the side of the mountain. But on this side, it was like further away from that waterfall. So, but there was still like trickles of water coming down. And there was like a small stream leading from it. And at the foot of the stairs was this tall man. It was a tall black man in a dark suit, and he was elderly looking. But just like the elderly woman further down the mountain, he was also strong and beautiful at the same time. She and healthy looking too. There was a stream running between this tall man and this blurred image that was on the other side of this stream of water. So here's the stream, and the man standing on one side of that stream, and on the other side of the stream is this big, beautiful mural of some kind, but it's blurred. You can't really see the details of it. And like the stream, like there's like this mist coming up from like condensation or something, but it was like a mist over the stream, and it was blurring the image of this mural on the other side of the stream, so you couldn't see what it was. So the man, when we approached this tall man, he said, you have to leap to get across. If the water from your glass spills into the stream, you would have to start all over again, just as the stream. But do not fear, you are still in his circle of light. Just as the water cycle, you will return again. Yet as the rain comes forth in greater amounts with time and fills the rivers, and the rivers join the ocean, so will too your faith grow in abundance, and you will join him. So I also forgot to mention, at the bottom of the mountain, these tall people, even though we gave up our possessions, we were given something in return. We were given a glass of water, and we were given a white rose, but it wasn't like fully bloomed, but it was a white rose. We were told to carry these up the mountain with us. So it was a glass of water and an unbloomed white rose. So what this man is telling us to do is to jump over the stream, and to be careful, because it's like we are jumping over the stream holding a glass of water. Okay? And he's saying that if the water comes out of your cup, you're going to have to start all over again. But he says the words, fear not. And I'm going to jump on that in scripture, because many angels that have approached people always come to you saying, fear not. When the disciples were on board the ship and they were in turbulent water because there was a storm, they saw someone approaching them walking on the water, okay? And they were frightened. They thought it was a ghost coming towards them, okay? They were freaking out. And Jesus said to them, it is I. He said, fear not. Fear not. And when they saw that it was the Lord, they invited him to come on board. They helped him aboard. I don't think he needed any help, but they invited him to come aboard. But whenever a spirit of God comes to people, okay, whether it's Jesus, an angel, but whatever is a representation of God, they always say, fear not. So it was so interesting how this tall man also said, but do not fear. It's very similar, okay? And then he said, do not fear, you are still in his circle of light. Even though you had to start all over again, if the water from your cup fell out, even if you had to start all over again, he said you're still in his circle of light. So in other words, you still had another chance. You still had another chance. It wasn't too late for you. So my teacher went first. She leaped over the stream, and her glass tilted, and the water from her cup spilled out. And the white rose that she was holding in her hand, it never bloomed. And then she disappeared in the mist. And so the white rose now we were given, it was a bud. It wasn't bloomed. So when she leaped over the stream, that bud was supposed to open up. That white rose represented her heart. Okay? So she was willing to come to this holy place. The angels let her continue up the stairs. Okay? So, and she was all jazzed up. She's a fashion teacher, but apparently since they allowed her to continue up the stairs, she wasn't a materialistic person. So that's why she was able to continue. But at the stream, when she was told to jump over to get to the other side, her glass tilted and the water fell out her cup. And her white rose, the bud, didn't open up. And then the white rose represents the heart in that dream. So she had good attributes, but her heart wasn't open to God. Her water spilled out because she didn't have that faith. And the white rose that she had, it didn't open up because she was what's the word I'm looking for? Trepidated, I'm guessing. There's two different fears. There's the fear of God, and there's this fear that keeps you from God. Okay? The fear of God is reverence. And the other fear of God is when you feel ashamed that you don't want to come to him. That's not God judging you. That's you judging yourself. You're condemning yourself. That fear does not come from God. God is not a God of fear. That fear is from you. Okay? And you're condemning yourself with that fear. When you are not open to God, you're choosing that. You're choosing not to open your heart to God because that's your choice. Okay? So she disappeared in the mist. She didn't make it across. So the next person up was my friend Frances. Okay? And I'll tell you a little bit of backstory about my friend Frances. She's the reason why I got baptized. Okay? And that's a whole other story for another day. But she's the reason why I got baptized in real life. She introduced me to her church, and I was a member at her church for 3 years. Okay? She was my best friend. And so she is up next in this dream. Frances asks the tall man, why didn't Miss Farrelly make it? And the tall man replied to her saying, she had her eyes closed. If you believe and trust in the Lord, your eyes will be opened. That is why her glass spilled and her white rose never bloomed. Yet she is not lost. He will call her name again when it is time. This is a calling. Her name will be called again when it is time. This is a calling. This dream was about a calling. Okay? And he said the reason why her glass spilled and her white rose never bloomed was because she had her eyes closed. She didn't trust God. She was afraid. Okay? So Frances, now that it was her turn, she took a leap across the stream. Her glass did not spill. And her white rose, it bloomed. And it bloomed wide open. Okay? She had a heart for God. And she disappeared in the mist. She too disappeared in the mist. I became afraid. Okay, I'm seeing, okay, Miss Farrelly disappeared, and this is why she disappeared. My friend just disappeared, and I don't know why she disappeared, and now it's my turn. Oh my God. So, right, I'm afraid, right? So, I became afraid that she might not have made it, and that's when I doubted myself. Okay? The tall man did not say anything. He just motioned for me to take my leap. Oh boy. I was scared. So I prayed in my head. Deep down inside, I knew Frances made it across because I know my friend. She's very devout. She's a very devout Christian. So because I examined myself and because I knew her as a person, I was able to cast out my doubt. I was able to cast out my fear. I was able to reaffirm my faith in God. Okay? All of a sudden, I knew my friend Frances, she actually made it. Okay? I knew that the Lord wouldn't fail her. That's confidence in the Lord. When you have faith in Him, He keeps His promises. The Lord does not fail. Okay? Since she trusted Him with all her heart, that's why her flower bloomed. So I said to myself, since I believe too, what's the harm in keeping my eyes opened? I'm not afraid of Him. I fear Him. So I leaped. My glass did spill a few drops, but not enough for me to go back. My white rose, it did bloom, but one side of it turned a light hue of pink. Maybe that could represent doubt. So if you look at Jesus' disciples, okay, he chose them. He knew who would betray Him. He still chose Him. He knew who would doubt Him. He still chose Him. He already knew the one that needed to see to believe it, and He still chose him too. Jesus chose His own. So even though I had initially doubted my chances of making it, but I was able to reestablish my faith in Him, He let me come across. I made it. Okay? I made it. I don't know what happened after I leaped. I just saw a beautiful, huge mural in front of me. Huge. And Frances and other people were also there. But the names and even the faces elude me. So, and the thing is that at the beginning of the dream, I started off with people I knew. These are people I came up with through high school. These are my teachers, my fellow classmates. These are some of my friends. I knew them. And here I am on the other side, and I see one friend, but everybody else is a stranger to me. So that means God called other people too. It wasn't just us. He called other people. And I don't recognize these people, but they made it across. Okay? And we're all looking at this huge mural. All of them either stood or were on their knees in deep prayer. Some had their eyes closed, others had their eyes opened, praying and observing this beautiful mural. Somehow, I knew the mural was a painting of a vision. Okay? This is something that hasn't happened yet. And we are seeing this painting of this mural, and it's a vision of something that's going to happen in the future. Okay? Frances had her eyes closed, but then she opened her eyes and viewed the mural. Okay? It was a mural of Jesus and the saints. Jesus having the bigger crown, but on the points of the smaller crowns of the saints, there were symbols like stars and heads of animals, gems, fire and light, and just symbols of strange sorts foreshadowing something. So Jesus was wearing the crown of life, and he had the 12 disciples turned apostles. He had them on his left and his right. They were also wearing crowns, but they on the tips of their crowns were like different symbols, and it was a foreshadowing of things to come, of events. The symbols on the points of their crown were events in the future. Okay? There were angels painted, but it was strange too. There was one angel flying in the air, with birds flying underneath the angel, and the angel had a finger pointing as if directing the birds to do something. The birds had circles of light around each of them, as if they were under some kind of divine command. These birds are being directed by this angel, and the angel's pointing, leading them and commanding them to do something. And all these birds are chosen. They have a light around them. They're under divine command, and they're being told to do something. They're being led by this angel going somewhere. What are these birds going to do? I might have to go into another video to explain that. But this video is just to go into this dream. Okay? So this dream is crazy. So another video will have to explain the things that I saw in that mural. Okay? The birds were looking down at the souls below. These souls below were on the water. Some were draped in white, some were just naked, and others were draped in black. There was another angel, but standing on the earth, and this one also pointed. All right. This is going to get scary now, so stay with me, okay? There was trees and crops and insects in orbs of light also. Trees, crops, and insects in orbs of light. There's an orb of light around the bugs, there's orbs of light around the trees, and there's orbs of light around the crops. These are under divine command as well. There's an angel in command of those things too. This angel had 1 foot on the land, 1 foot in the sea, with a sword. Okay? There was another angel that hovered above the waters, and this one was pointing too. The water was glowing in the light, and the sea creatures also were encircled in light. Each sea creature had a light around it. They were also under divine command of this angel. So these angels are assigned different things, and those things have this light around them. They're under divine command. They're being commanded to do something. Trees, bugs, crops, sea creatures, the water, birds. What's going on? Okay, this is all in this mural, this painting on the rock wall. Okay, this is a vision that was painted. And there were 2 angels, both with sword. One was fighting demons, and the other was commanding the armies of the world with his finger pointed too. Now we know that one of these angels must be Michael, because Michael leads an army of angels, and he fought against demons. The demons and Satan, they were cast out of heaven after they had a war. And who was leading that war against Satan? It was Michael. Okay? So that maybe this angel is him. And the other one, though, is leading the forces of the world. Who's that angel? Who's leading the armies on the humans? Who's leading those people on the earth? With his finger pointed too. These people had an orb of light around them. These people are under divine command, under an angel leading them. Okay? These people being led to fight. I don't know what they were pointing at, nor what those creatures symbolize with orbs of light around them. I didn't understand it. Remember, I'm writing this in 2004, okay? I'm about 16, 17 years old. Because of my friend Francis I got baptized. She brought me to her church. I was there for 3 years. Okay? I wrote and made a copy, and I drew illustrations for the church leaders and the pastor. They took this dream seriously. And this is when I didn't read the Bible. I didn't know much about God. And that's another story for another time. I'll tell you why I didn't know God in another video. And that one's going to be pretty deep too. But I didn't know any of this. I didn't understand any of it. And they did. They took this dream very seriously. They didn't tell me the interpretation. From 16 to 17 years old, all the way up until now, and I'm 33 years old, that's how long it took me to mature in the spirit and build up my faith to understand the significance of this dream. This dream was important the whole time, and I didn't understand it. Okay? This is crazy. Whew. The mural seemed alive, and Jesus' eyes looked like they were actually watching us. Francis told me, "We're not coming back here." I asked, "What about the ones that didn't make it?" She replied, "They're not us." I don't remember leaving that spot, but I know we never returned. I don't know if we kept what we learned from that sacred mural to ourselves and among the godly, or if we preached that painted vision to the world, warning them what's to come. For some reason, I'm thinking we did spread the word around about what that vision was, but there's a dread within me that some things are inevitable or bound to happen regardless of anything. Then I woke up. P.S. 10:39 a.m. My brother suddenly asks me, "How's Francis?" These are my drawings from that dream. The drawing that I had of the angel with the sword, with one foot standing on the land and one foot standing in the sea, I cannot find it. But this is what I could find. It took me 4 hours to find this dream because everything is stored away in folders and everything like that. But I don't know if you could see this, but this is when we came down the stairs into that cavernous part of the mountain with the person standing by the stream and the mural on the other side of the stream. I don't know if you can see that. But and these are the bridges going across and the stairs on that mountain. These are the tall people in that big crate where we had to put